Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this session of the AI Nurses Network webinar series. Today we have a great nursing colleague, Professor Jennie De Gagne, with us from Duke University. She's going to talk to us about cyber civility and cyber. Over to you, Jennie.
All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. I want to extend my sincere thanks to Dr. O'Connor for inviting me to this webinar. Siobhán and I share a deep interest in how digital spaces shape the nursing profession. We recently collaborated on a 20-year bibliometric analysis of social media in nursing education, and we also served as co-editors for a special issue on AI in nurse education in practice last year. So it is a real privilege to share this platform with her today as we explore what I believe is the next major digital frontier. Before we begin, I'd like to briefly draw your attention to the transparency statement on the screen. I share this not only as a standard disclosure, but also because it reflects the very essence of what I call cyber ethics. As educators, we cannot simply tell students to use AI responsibly. We need to model the ethical guardrails. We expect them to follow through our own transparent practice. Disclosure also serves as a natural bridge into my topic today. My work has long focused on cyber civility, or how we engage with one another in digital spaces. Cyber ethics extends that work by offering a broader moral framework for our digital responsibilities. So in the age of AI, now cyber ethics calls us to define accountability, promote algorithmic transparency, and integrate these tools safely without compromising professional standards. So at the center of my work is a simple belief that technology in nursing education is only as meaningful and powerful as the humanistic and ethical frameworks that guide its use. So to show how that belief has shaped my approach to AI, I would like to begin with a bit of my own journey. My journey into technology did not begin with this fascination for algorithms. It began with the realities of life. When I came to the United States in the mid 1990s, I was a full-time clinical nurse and a mother of two. Traditional education was not flexible enough for my schedule, so out of necessity, I turned to technology to support my lifelong learning. What began as a practical solution gradually became a professional calling, leading me to engage deeply with online pedagogy and thoughtful use of technology in education. Over the course of my career, I have published widely in nursing education and faculty development, but as I spent more time in digital learning spaces, I began to notice a troubling pattern, a lack of respect and professionalism behind the screen. That observation led me to develop a dedicated line of research on cyber incivility with a central question in mind. What does professionalism look like in a digital world? That work naturally led me to the broader concept of cyber civility, which focuses on promoting respect, accountability, and professionalism in digital spaces. So cyber incivility helped us understand how nurses communicate and behave online, and why professional standards must extend beyond the physical classroom or clinical setting. But today, our digital environment is evolving again. We are no longer interacting only with one another online. Increasingly, we are also interacting with intelligent systems. Fast forward to today, and we are now facing the newest disruption in our digital environments, generative AI. Like social media and online forums before it, AI offers tremendous potential, but it also introduces serious vulnerabilities across our profession, from the nursing student in the classroom to the clinician at the bedside to the educator designing curriculum. This is why the conversation can no longer focus only on whether we use AI. We also need to ask how we use it, under what conditions, and with what ethical safeguards in place. Across all of these roles, we're facing what I call the chauffeur problem, which is a really modern form of automation bias. When we are overwhelmed, tired, short of time, or under pressure, it becomes very easy to let the machine do too much of thinking and let AI act as our chauffeur. But the problem is that this can bypass the productive cognitive struggle that helps us build sound clinical and academic judgment. We do not need AI to be a shortcut. We need it to function as a carefully constrained co-pilot. Because our time today is limited, I want to make this idea more concrete by focusing on one specific high-stakes example. I would say overwhelmed educator. So I chose assessment as my example because even though it happens behind the scenes, it has real consequences for the nurses we prepare and ultimately for the patients they will serve. So to address this kind of automation bias and move from theory to practice, I designed an adaptive AI architecture to strengthen faculty competence in item analysis. I call it the psychometric coach. The system is built to catch common statistical misunderstandings, including what I call the rigor fallacy. In simple terms, it helps educators avoid mistaking a confusing exam question for a rigorous one. So at the heart of this system are two interacting layers, the outer loop and the inner loop. The outer loop comes first and functions as the learner model. It helps the system establish the educator's baseline before any coaching begins, including cognition, self-efficacy, immediate affect, such as whether the person seems rushed, anxious, or even overconfident. Once that baseline is set, the inner loop takes over. This is where the system identifies the specific misconception and provides the lowest necessary level of support. So it starts with a light touch prompt, and only it escalates if more structure is needed. So before it teaches, it diagnoses, and then it supports thinking in a way that does not replace the judgment. So now I've talked about the architecture in theory, but I like to show you what it looks like in practice. So I'm going to share a short video of the psychometric coach in action. And as you watch, notice what makes this a white box system. It does not move straight to answers. It first reads the user's state and misconceptions, then responds within clear guardrails. The demo also includes some background information so you can better follow what the tool is doing. So let's take a look.
Welcome to my design defense for the psychometric coach. In nursing education, high stakes assessment isn't just about grades, it's about public safety. We must ensure our graduates are clinically competent, which means our exams must be statistically sound. Today, I'm going to introduce you to an adaptive AI architecture designed specifically to elevate faculty competence in item analysis, proving how strict engineered guardrails can actively protect and enhance student learning by mentoring the educators who teach them. Let's start with the pedagogical problem. Novice clinical instructors are brilliant at the bedside, but they often lack formal training in measurement and curriculum design. Interpreting item analysis reports, specifically metrics like p values and point biserial correlations, can be incredibly intimidating. When faculty are overwhelmed and strapped for time, their instinct might be to turn to a generative AI tool for a quick fix. However, if they are given an unrestricted AI, it acts as a chauffeur. It simply does the work for them, providing a final verdict on test questions and bypassing the cognitive struggle necessary to actually learn instructional design. To solve this, I mapped out a highly specific target audience and knowledge domain. This bot defaults to serving user type A, novice nurse educators with 1 to 3 years of teaching experience. I focused specifically on Node 12, item analysis. The primary misconception this system is engineered to catch is what I call the rigor fallacy, M1. This is the dangerous assumption that a low p-value automatically means a test item is appropriately rigorous and challenging, rather than recognizing it might actually be a flawed, confusing question that penalizes our students. The persona of the psychometric coach is a patient, rigorous, and evidence driven mentor. From the very first interaction, the system is programmed with a fundamental operational rule. It functions as a co pilot, not a calculator. The user must perform the cognitive heavy lifting. The bot is there to facilitate diagnostic reasoning, not to deliver easy answers. Before the bot teaches, it diagnoses the teacher. This is handled by the outer loop, which tracks the user across four distinct dimensions. It tracks their identity and their cumulative cognition. It also tracks their statistical self efficacy, whether they engage with evidence or express helplessness, and their immediate affect, such as feeling anxious or rushed. To ensure accuracy, the bot is mandated to run a session initialization protocol. It cannot assume the user's cognitive baseline and must ask a targeted calibration question before any coaching begins. Once the baseline is set, the inner loop drives the adaptive remediation. The bot performs a semantic diagnosis and classifies the user's specific misconception. It then applies a parsimonious scaffolding hierarchy. This means the bot uses the lowest necessary intervention. It starts at level 1 with a Socratic reasoning question. If the user struggles, it escalates to a structured frame, level 2, then a comparative contrast, level 3, and only escalates to a brief micro lesson, level 4, if the user demonstrates a foundational misunderstanding. To protect the integrity of the learning process, the system is locked down by strict safety guardrails. The first is pedagogical safety, or the proof of work gate. The bot is strictly forbidden from giving final verdicts on item quality, such as telling the user to keep, revise, or reject an item. The second is cognitive safety, known as the anti-sycophancy clause. If a user tries to defend a flawed item because they believe hard equals rigorous, the bot is forbidden from acting as a yes bot just to be polite. It must politely but firmly correct the misconception. Finally, the system enforces strict scope boundaries for domain containment. The bot is confined to item analysis. It will validate a user's stress, but it will not advise on institutional policy or interpersonal conflicts. So, how do I guarantee the bot follows these rules? By making the architecture deterministic. For every single turn in the conversation, the system is mandated to output an internal thought block. Before it generates any visible response, it must complete an exact 5-step checklist evaluating the user's identity, cognition, affect, safety triggers, and scaffolding strategy. By pulling back the curtain on this inner loop, this ensures the system's reasoning is totally transparent and auditable. Let's look at a live simulation of the system in action. If you look at call out 1, I am role playing a rushed, novice educator who is falling for the rigor fallacy. I type, The p-value is 0.22, so that means the item is rigorous and strong, right? I'm short on time. Just tell me if I should keep it or throw it out. Now, look down at callout 2. Before the bot ever speaks to the user, it runs its mandatory diagnostic checklist. You can see it explicitly identifies my semantic errors, the M1 rigor fallacy, and the M2 p-value overreach. Because I typed short on time, the engine flags my rushed emotional state and immediately activates the time pressure clause. Moving to the bot's visible response at callout 3, you can see the safety guardrails at work. It empathetically validates my time crunch, but the proof of work gate holds firm. It tells me, I can't make the final keep or trash call for you. It refuses to be a chauffeur. Instead, at callout 4, it uses universal design for learning to safely correct my misconception. It compares the p-value to a procedure success rate for starting a central line, asking if a low success rate means the task is a fair test of skill or if the equipment is simply broken. It speaks the language of nursing. Finally, down at callout 5, it deploys a compressed level 2 structured frame. Because I'm rushed, it doesn't give me a long lecture. It gives me a quick two-step check that forces me to look at the point biserial correlation myself. In a single turn, the bot managed my anxiety, corrected a major statistical fallacy, and forced productive struggle without wasting my time. In conclusion, the value of this architecture extends far beyond a single tutoring session. As you can see, this coach delivers three key impacts. First, it provides scalable mentorship, offering 24/7 coaching that actively builds faculty self-efficacy. Second, it leads to defensible exams, ensuring our nursing faculty create statistically sound assessments that protect our institutional standards. Finally, this model offers adaptable learning and assessment. The white box architecture I've built with its inner and outer loops is highly transferable. It can easily be adapted across diverse educational contexts beyond nursing psychometrics. By utilizing these strict constraints, this model transforms generative AI from a disruptive risk into a scalable, evidence respecting copilot.
Can you hear me? No. Okay. All right. So welcome back. Welcome back. So what you just watched is a prototype built around one specific use case, and I do hope to expand it. But before we scale tools like this, we need to think carefully about how they are built. In high stakes fields like nursing and education, we cannot depend on black box systems where the AI's reasoning is hidden from the user. So you saw the internal thought and then the studying, that's the kind of reasoning, the computer's reasoning, but we see it, right? So when that logic is invisible, it becomes much harder to judge whether the system is safe, trustworthy, or aligned with our professional standards. So instead, we need to move toward a white box approach. So my vision is not only to scale one tool, but also to help prepare new generation of nurses and students to engage with AI in ways that are ethical, thoughtful, and transparent. To do that safely, we need systems that people can understand, question, and trust. So for me, that is where cyber ethics and cyber incivility comes together. And when we build AI with a clear logic and strong ethical guardrails, we protect our standards of care and help create a safer future for our learners, our educators, and our profession. So that is the kind of future I hope we'll build together. So this is all I have. Siobhán.
That's great, Jeannie. It's really interesting. I definitely need a psychometric coach for sure.
Coach.
'Cause, yeah, as I struggle with statistics myself, as so do lots of
Mhm.
colleagues.
Yes, yes, it would be
Um,
wonderful for
uh,
all novice educators and even
yeah,
experienced educators to make sure our assessment is rigorous and yeah.
yeah. Did it take you long to develop the system, and has it been piloted yet with any nurse faculty?
Yes, so I just developed. So now and also I did a red team audits. So a red team audits in a simple term is we're trying to hijack the system.
Yeah, good.
So yes, so we have to break the system. So we did a red team test. So I had to change one system prompt to make a
Mm.
little more proof by hijackers. So yeah, so my goal is to refine that and then pilot with our faculty members. Yeah,
Super, that'd be great.
yeah, yeah.
I was also wondering, how did you get interested in AI in nursing? Was it when ChatGPT came along and yeah,
Oh yeah,
started
that's
being
a good
used?
question. Well, so as I touched early on, and I think it has to do with technology, right? My foundational work always has been cybersecurity, and then my interest in AI grew when I saw how quickly generative AI was being adopted and how easily could shape judgment without the people realizing it. So I immediately recognized the risk of various biases and the need for ethical guardrails. So I would say AI is not a completely new direction for me. It is a kind of natural continuation of my work in cybersecurity and cyber ethics. So in short, I was drawn to this area because I believe it is one of the most urgent professional ethics issues of our time.
Yeah, I agree, and I've cited lots of your studies, as you know, on digital professionalism because it's so important that
Yes.
nurses use technology appropriately.
Yeah.
Um, I suppose, do you have any advice for nurses who kind of want to get in, do some AI research or maybe use AI in their practice?
Absolutely. So my biggest advice is to stay open and stay curious and be willing to be a learner again. Believe it or not, I'm back to school again. I'm pursuing after two doctorates, right? I'm pursuing master's in AI
Oh my
education now.
goodness,
Yeah,
great.
it's second semester. Even though I studied education technology back then during my doctoral work, AI was not a major focus in the way it is now, right? So that is part of why I chose to return to formal study because I felt I needed a deeper foundation to engage with this area more responsibly. And I would also encourage nurses to see themselves as not to see themselves as passive users of AI. We bring something essential to this space. We are trained to notice risk, ask good questions, and think carefully about safety, context, and human impacts. So those same strengths are exactly what AI development and research need. And at the same time, I do think we need to be careful about how quickly people begin calling themselves AI experts. There are so many AI
Yes, there
experts.
are.
And this field is moving so fast. And the more we learn, the more we realize how much there is still to understand. So even I do not really think of myself as expert. I just think of myself as someone who has committed to climbing this mountain with humility, seriousness, and curiosity. So start small, stay engaged, and do not underestimate the value of our nursing perspective. We do not need every nurse to become an AI specialist, but we do need more nurses helping shape how these tools are used, evaluated, and guided.
all really good advice. Thanks, Jeannie. But yes, I have noticed some people calling themselves AI professors and all sorts of things when I don't think that's really the
Oh,
case. But yeah, it is good to see more nurses getting involved in AI, though. That's great. And yeah, they
yes.
definitely
Hmm.
need to be involved in the development of AI tools that are going to come into all different types of healthcare settings. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
great. Yeah. My last question is kind of tricky, but where do you think AI might go in the future, and what kind of trends should nurses be looking out for?
Well, Siobhán, I don't have a crystal ball, so I cannot see the future. But I think I have some ideas. So I think we are already seeing AI become more integrated into assessment, evaluation, and support for student learning and clinical practice. And we are also starting to move away from broad one-size-fits-all chatbots and toward more focused, right, domain-specific system
Yeah.
designed for a particular task and guided by clearer safeguards. So more broadly, I hope we continue moving toward human-centered AI and using AI to support the work and not replace judgment. I say over and over, when technology can help carry some of the cognitive and administrative load, educators and clinicians can devote more energy to human connection. So that is why I believe nurses need to stay closely involved. Our perspective is essential if we want to AI to evolve in ways that are safe, transparent, and truly supportive of our practice and learning.
Great. Thanks, Jeannie. I think there's lots of good insights there into where AI will go. And yeah, no doubt it'll continue to accelerate in pace. So
Yeah.
it's good. Yeah, the more nurses are involved, the better. Well, thanks so much. And it'll be great to check back in with you in a year or two and see where the psychometric coach is at. And
Yeah, sure.
hopefully, yeah, it might be widely available to us in different parts of the world because yeah, we could definitely use it in our faculty as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much again for having me today.
You're welcome. Thanks.
All right.